up, YouTube? You know who it is. It's your boy Zod. But anyway, you can tell by the byline who I'm going to go in on. And if anybody has been paying attention to my channel, you know at one time, Zod Ben Trife, which is my reaction channel, was in fact a political based channel when I first started it, which I started after Nil to Zod 1. But I didn't have enough time to continue down that path, and plus I wanted to be a lot more well versed in politics, which, you know, I slightly feel like I'm a little bit more well versed, but not to the, you know, to the level that I want to be. So I chose to slide back, and even now I try to refrain from speaking politics because, you know, it's a lot that goes into it. Do I know the difference between political party? You know, a lot of other things that go into it, yeah. But as far as like really detailed, you know, you would have to be like Ben Shapiro in New York. You tell from the title exactly what it's gonna be about. Like I said, Zod's vision was Zod's Ben Trife was Zod's vision before, and in that channel I went in on this person, which is Kamala Harris. Now let me it's funny, you know what I mean, because I was actually, after a long day, I sat down and I was gaming, and then somebody informed me that Joe Biden had in fact chose a running mate, and for the love of me, I couldn't really figure who would want to align themselves with this particular guy. Because let's just be honest, Joe Biden is slow as hell, and I know for people that come to the channel, they figure that Joe Biden is a lesser of two evils, but you would have to see it in so many different ways in order to really prove that he is the lesser of two evils. Right now, immigration is the most thing. I say immigration is the thing that's really pushing the negative narrative towards Trump, which I'm not here to you know, vindicate him for some of the things he did in the past, and not here to be pro-advocate for Trump. I'm just here to tell you about Biden and Kamala Harris. Now, Biden was one of those individuals back in the 80s that was really rough on crime. He was really tough, and if you listen to one of his prior videos, which I can get the link to that particular video so you can see that his stance on crime was like zero tolerance. I don't care if you had a minor infraction. He wanted to throw the book at you. And actually, if you listen to this particular video, he went on a rant for a while. Not even a rant. It was I can't say it was a rant because it wasn't belligerent. It wasn't. He was well versed, so he got his point across. But basically, to sum it up, is he wasn't trying to give nobody no particular pass, and that was just honest. It was like basically how Clinton was, you know, when he called us animals and said that we, you know, we deserve certain punishments. Well, Joe Biden was a little bit more extreme, and he was instrumental in implementing certain laws, you know, or getting them passed, as far as like, you know, maybe not directly, but just with his influence and who he spoke to, you know what I mean? But I can go into that all day, you know what I mean? But I can understand from Biden's point of view, he needed to make a sharp move, and his strongest move, which right now I find more of a detriment to him, is he chose Kamala Harris. And the reason I know that he chose Kamala Harris is because he felt like he wasn't going to be able to gain the black vote. Because regardless of what anybody says, Trump does have a lot of black voters. I just say that he had a lot of blacks that were backing him. So that's besides the point. You know, somebody just died for being a Trump supporter and he was black, which is a shame. Because nowadays you should be able to choose whatever political party that you want to choose. But I just don't understand the left. I don't understand their choice. Like, I understand, like, I don't even know why they chose Biden. Maybe because they felt since he was the Vice President Obama that somehow gave him a stronger backing. But to be honest, I just see him and not to say that, you know, I wouldn't respect the commander-in-chief, but he would make a weak president. The only thing that really stood out about Biden is the fact that he likes to touch on a lot of people, and he's weird. And for the simple fact that he was tough on crime, which is funny. Let me just go back to that. The only reason why Biden changed his tune on that is because people in his family, I'm not going to go into details, but basically people in his family were put in jeopardy due to the fact that he was so tough on crime and pushed for stringent laws that, in fact, you know, affected the minorities more than anybody. And he tried to downplay it. And then I'm saying the reason why I feel that he chose Kamala Harris, because she's been, For a few reasons. Let me just back that up. The reason he chose Kamala Harris is because he needs the black vote, and he felt like he was losing it because he did make a comment along the lines that you ain't black if you don't choose him, which is funny seeing that he is Caucasian. But this is when race comes into play. So what he did is he got him a black running mate, which is funny because Kamala Harris doesn't really even consider herself black. She considers herself something South Asian or some other thing. But you know, the 1% law, you know what I mean, or the 1% rule in the United States is if you got one drop of black blood, you're considered black. So I don't know how she's gonna get away from that, seeing that she looks black. That's like me saying I'm Caucasian, and you know, that would be kind of funny. But Kamala Harris, I'll get on her in a minute. I'm gonna go back to Joe Biden because Biden. That's kind of funny because he does like to, you know, nuzzle or whatever, you know, when you put your nose on somebody's neck. He did that to multiple people, so many children. Every time you see something of Joe Biden, he's touching on some kid, or he's touching on some woman. He's in an inappropriate way. But that's the type of people that we have to deal with. You had the Clintons get away with it when, you know, Epstein and, you know, being on his island numerous times. We thought we got away from it when, you know, when Hillary then win, but now we're back to, you know, and I know a lot of people are going to come on here because I do have a lot of left on my page. Some are more, consider self more left because the things that are going on predominantly with the, you know, as far as like immigration and the kids being locked in cages. I think that's one of the strongest things that go against Trump right now, is the fact that he's unable to alleviate that. If he could just bring them home, I think he will win. Because he would definitely get the Hispanic vote if he could just only accomplish that. But, you know, I digress. But anyway, so I'm going to get off Biden. Now it's on to Kamala Harris. I talked about her before. People knew that she was an attorney general. Before that, she was a district attorney. I think it's somewhere around 2004. I don't know to how long she actually served in office. I didn't really want to go into that. But the fact that she became attorney general after that, and then, you know, if you go back on the record, just look at how many police had got away with dirty crimes. And she constantly refused to prosecute them. When it came to light that the DA, like multiple DAs were in fact in cahoots with the police of covering up and manufacturing certain things in order to get the conviction rate. I mean, not only get the conviction rate, but to get to conviction, they were doing dirty things and sharing information and things of that nature. But she refused to prosecute them. Why? Because she's dirty. And a cat don't change his stripes. You know what I mean? Kamala Harris is one of those. You know, she doesn't change her stripes. She's one of those that she sees an opening. And like I said, the reason I think he chose, I won't even say I think, I know he chose her because of race. Because he felt somewhere or another she could not only bring in the women, that she could bring in the black vote. And then there's so much angst against Trump that people would, you know, gravitate to her, flock to her. Oh, you know, she's black, or the first female president, or whatever. They would do something on that nature. So he played it smart, because she's in fact been critical of Joe Biden in the past. So, you know, it's a funny combination, but I see why he chose the way he did. But Kamala Harris, let's go back to her real quick, because I'm going to try to end this video as quick as possible, even though I've been talking too long. So Kamala Harris basically refused to prosecute any dirty DAs, refused to prosecute any cops, and refused, and there was one that was really important, and I think she worked in a tech in the lab, you know, handling, you know, as far as like evidence, and she tampered with evidence constantly. I think she got over 100 cases that were tampered with, and now they're serving lengthy sentences. And Kamala Harris refused to put her away, refused to prosecute her. So, you know, like I said, there's a lot of things that go against Kamala Harris. And there's a lot of people on my Facebook page that I know as friends that are just really rooting for her. And I'm going to tell you straight out why. For one, they hate Trump. For two, they hate Trump. And for three, they hate Trump, and they consider Kamala Harris and Joe Biden the lesser of two evils. But that's the, you know, it all comes down to perspective. Now, I'm just going to be honest with you. Sorry, allergies. Choosing Kamala Harris was a major move for him. It was strategic. And 9 out of 10, I don't care what nobody say, unless Trump changes a lot of different things, he is not going to win the presidency again. He won the first one by a landslide, so did Obama. But it's things that he's starting to renege on. Before Trump started off, he was a go-getter. As far as like, he was really about what he talked about. So, and that's kind of why I like Bush. Regardless of, he sank the economy, but he was one of those that said what he did and did what he said. You know what I mean? If everybody knows why he invaded Iraq. But that's besides the point. This is Joe Biden. So Joe Biden made a strategic move. And for that move in particular, he's probably going to win if he can just keep his mouth long enough, keep his mouth shut long enough in order to win. He'll be good. Now, Kamala Harris, I'm saddened by the fact that she's actually his running mate, even though they're both clowns to me. But it's just like, you don't understand unless you really do research on this particular chick. I see her as a chick. Even if she becomes a president, she's still going to be trash to me, because there's a lot of people incarcerated due to the fact that she refused to prosecute people that were guilty of fabricating evidence in order to get multiple convictions. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I tell people and homies to get into politics. People say politics don't work, but you need to get in it in order to see whether it'll work or not. Sad thing, a lot of Hispanics that get into, you know, politics, they end up being corrupt, like councilmen and like that. But now it's like, you know, you got a new generation of people willing to really work across the aisle, not, you know, bipartisan and everything. You know what I mean? You got that one chick in and I call her a chick because she approves of abortions and I don't. So, and while she's been in office, there's been, you know, and we won't go into that. This is about Kamala Harris. But basically, before you get all hyped and think, oh yeah, she's for the blacks, you need to do your research and understand that she don't two fucks about us, and she's pretty much anti-black, regardless of what you want to say. So it's basically like this. When it comes down to it, you will choose who you would choose. I'm not telling you go Trump, and I'm not telling you go Joe Biden. Joe Biden's an idiot, and Trump also does idiotic shit. It's just plain and simple. Well, I'm telling you where Trump is losing is because the shit that he said he was going to do, he's starting to renege on. The shit that he refused to compromise before in the past, he's starting to compromise on. So there's wavering. Now he's starting to do things along the line of every other Democrat that wants to get elected. You know what I mean? But I get it. He's trying to get reelected, but everything's against him. We'll see. And this is not to infuriate nobody. Like I said, I'm not pro-Trump and I'm not pro-Biden. I don't really care. Right now, it's like we're in the crosshairs of two different rifles. It's just who's the better shot. That's all I'm going to say on that. But anyways, man, down with Kamala Harris. Joe Biden, you're an idiot. And eventually probably going to end up being a pedophile. I don't care who don't like it. That's just my opinion. And Trump, if you don't get your shit together, you would definitely not make it to see another term. That's a fact. You know what I mean? That's a fact. You know what I mean? In order to secure the black vote, the Hispanic vote, you need to make major. This is me appealing to you. You need to make major changes. You know, there's things with immigration that you can, you know, you don't have to be as tough on. And the kids that are in cages right now, you really need to figure out a way how to bring them. Because I can guarantee you bring them home, you might just make it to another election. You know what I mean? You might take the office again. You know what I mean? And if Joe Biden, you want it, then you go get the kids out. And I can guarantee you get the Latino vote. And on that note, I'm your boy Zod. And I can't wait to start my podcast because it's finna get really political in here. And on that note, I'm out.